Lofi Poli Sci, where you at? Michael Pickering here, talking our famous question: what's going on in the world today? And we're getting straight to it, into the nitty of the gritty of it all, with no hesitation or stutter in my step. The 10 countries with the least amount of media freedom in the world. Let's go. Number 10, Syria. Number 9, Iraq. Number 8, Cuba. Number 7, Vietnam. Number 6, China. The 5 least media-free countries. Number 5, Myanmar. Number 4, Turkmenistan. Number 3, Iran. Number 2, Eritrea. Number 1, North Korea. And there you go. But now let's do a little compare and contrast to the top 10 freest countries from last week. Now, from 10 going down to 1, what do we got? Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Costa Rica, Portugal, Ireland, Finland, Estonia, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. And again, our 10 least free media countries: Syria, Iraq, Cuba, Vietnam, China, Myanmar, Turkmenistan, Iran, Eritrea, North Korea. Straight away, it should be popping off the pod to you. There's some major regional bias in these lists. The freest countries are almost all, in Europe, save one in Latin America. And the least free countries for media are all in the Middle East and Asia, save one in Latin America. And where's Africa at? Nowhere on these lists. So why these regional biases? You know why. Media freedom is connected to another word we use all too much. Media freedom follows that word wherever it goes. There's lots of it in Europe, and little of it in Asia and the Middle East. It starts with a D, and ends with a democracy. Europe is the most democratic place on earth, so it comes as no surprise that Europe has more media freedom than anywhere else. And Asia and the Middle East are the least democratic places on earth. Thus, it makes sense they appear in the lower 10. But before we start a larger conversation, it's important to say that Reporters Without Borders, that does these rankings, only ranks 180 countries and territories. Meaning, where's the other 20? I wonder if you know. But aside from that, let's talk about media freedom. Let's talk about a free press. What should media be free to report on? To say? Question mark? I mean, even in the freest of media countries, if you defame someone, you can be sued for defamation and be held liable for slander and whatnot. So that's not technically part of free reporting, right? Not at all. And most places you can't report in a way to try and overthrow the government, sedition and all that. You can't cause public danger with what you're reporting, and you can't create violence. Nope. That is not part of media freedom. But what about criticizing the government in a more general way? Now this is where you start to get into murky waters. A lot of democracies, they say yes, free speech. And a lot of other countries, they say no. You cannot criticize the government because it's considered creating a public disturbance and linked to trying to overthrow the government. Simple as that. Or what about lying? Fake news. In a democracy? Heck yeah, you hear this all the time. You hear about this all the time because it's being put out there. Aside from defaming someone, you can report fake news all you want, just like The Onion does, political satire and whatnot. But increasingly, in lots of countries around the world, reporting fake news is becoming a criminal offense. Because in this case, you are deliberately misinforming the public, and that, many governments hold, is increasingly dangerous. And this really gets into the discussion of what does a free media look like? And the answer is directly related to what does free speech look like in your country? Almost all countries in the world, when you look around, you realize they have freedom of speech, and they have a right to a free press. But that doesn't give you the right to report lies, misinform the public, criticize the government, defame a person, incite insurrection or rebellion. I mean, for real, what we call media freedom here is predicated on the idea that free speech means we can say almost anything. And in most countries, that's just not what free speech means. So if we're measuring media freedom by democratic standards of free speech, then our list is always going to be biased towards Europe. However, if we change the standard by which we measure media freedom and free speech, well, wouldn't that be a list to see? Don't you think? Talk to me, people. I want to hear your words. Right into the show. Connect to us. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Talk to you tomorrow, Lo-Fi listeners. Dr. P, signing off.